Rock your body, mic check, 1, 2. Ooh. Breaking the goddamn set. You're watching Pat Plays. Last time we took a look at my Alien and Predator DVD collection, and today I wanted to take a look at my Evil Dead Trilogy DVD, VHS, Laserdisc and Blu-ray collection. When I was putting together the collection for this video, I almost felt like embarrassed because I didn't actually realise how many different versions of these films I've purchased in the last few years. Let's get down into this cellar of films and carve ourselves a witch. Groovy. First up, Evil Dead on DVD. This is probably the first one I bought in the whole collection. Released by Anchor Bay, as a lot of these horror DVDs were at the time. Not really much to say about this one. Really nice cover on the front. Open it up, we've got some cool publicity photos there. There's Ash, Bruce Campbell. No special features or anything on this one, just your absolute bog standard run-of-the-mill Evil Dead on DVD. Next up, we've got a really interesting one, the Evil Dead Book of the Dead DVD edition. Now this one, as you can see, has this sort of rubbery cover to the whole thing, which is a prop replica of the Evil Dead Book of the Dead. And there's a little engraving there, T. Sullivan. Tom Sullivan, he was a guy that he designed and created the original Book of the Dead, and he also did all of the makeup and creature effects for this one and the second film. So yeah, there's a nice little introduction written out by Tom Sullivan. Each page is a replica of the pages that you actually saw him looking through in the film, and this is quite cool. At the back you've got two little added features. The first up is actually another film. This is a film called Running Time that stars Bruce Campbell, and it's one of, I think, only 2 or 3 films ever made that were actually one shot. So it's not like 1917 where the whole film is made to look like one shot. This one is a 66-minute long film that was all in one single shot. I've not watched it yet. I'd rather watch Evil Dead, that's why I bought the thing in the first place. The other thing that comes with it is this nice little booklet. As you can see as you go through the pages, you got a nice little picture there of the Japanese Laserdisc release of Evil Dead, which we're gonna get onto next. And then finally, at the back of it, you've got the Evil Dead DVD there. This one is ram full of special features, a lot of behind the scenes stuff made specifically for this. This particular prop replica, shall we say, has actually made its way into a few of my video productions from the past, starting with an Evil Dead fan film that I made in 2008 called The Book of the Dead, which obviously stars myself as the Ash character who finds the book, reads from it, and then just like in Evil Dead 2, my hand gets possessed, so I have to cut it off myself with some great homemade special effects right here. As you can see, ketchup bottle clearly pushed up inside my sleeve there, squirting out like blood when I cut my hand off. That chainsaw was made out of a milk jug, cardboard, and a Connects chain for the actual chain bit of it.
Groovy.
Yo, hand! Come get some. So yeah, that was a lot of effort to put into just a little 10-minute short horror film back in the day. After that, the book made an appearance in 2013 in the second series of Horror Week. Horror Week starred the Crypt Keeper, who in each episode would talk about a different one of my horror fan films, and in this particular episode he was talking about the fan film The Book of the Dead, and so the book makes an appearance in that episode.
Obviously this is from my other bookshelf, my other special collection. I'll just put that away. Now I get the real book. Oh. Aha! This is the book, bound in human flesh and inked in human blood. It is the subject of tonight's feature presentation, The Book of the Dead, directed by Patrick Holt. Oops.
The last time it was used was just a little Easter egg in a Patanaki sketch from 2015, Billy's Halloween. I think it's just one shot. You can see the Book of the Dead is just lying on a shelf in the background. And like I just mentioned, you saw it in that booklet. Next up we have the Japanese Laserdisc release of the first Evil Dead film, and I'm so happy that I decided to start purchasing these, because just look at the artwork on the front there. That is insane. There it is. That is just awesome. Evil Dead, there's the Japanese text at the bottom, side 1 and side 2. Next one in the collection is Evil Dead 2 on DVD. I was never really a fan of this cover art, and this one's kind of weird because it's the only DVD I've got where you have to actually turn it on its side to read what's on the back of it. As you can see there, there's the trailers included, making of documentary and commentary by Sam Raimi, Robert Tapper and Bruce Campbell. Next up is the first Blu-ray on the list. This is Evil Dead 2, the 25th anniversary edition. The only reason I bought this was because I spotted it whilst I was in Florida, I think it was. One of the first times I've been there. As you can see on the back, there's tons of special features that were made especially for this 25th anniversary edition. Next up is a more recent purchase. This is another Book of the Dead prop replica, Evil Dead 2 DVD release version. Obviously it's a lot more menacing looking, this version, and inside again pretty similar to the first one. You've got some artwork which is similar to what you saw in the film. There's the book burning, and there you have Ash with his chainsaw arm, which is how Evil Dead 2 ends, we all know. And no other extras in this version, but again it's full of behind the scenes, all good stuff, but it's everything that was already released on this version. So now we're gonna finally get to the third and final film of the Evil Dead trilogy. We're gonna start off with the VHS. There it is, Army of Darkness, The Medieval Dead. The Medieval Dead is the title that Sam Raimi wanted to give it. This is the only time I've ever seen that title used. It's normally known as Evil Dead 3 Army of Darkness, or just Army of Darkness. Bruce Campbell versus the Army of Darkness. But basically Universal wanted it to be anything but Evil Dead 3. They didn't want people knowing that it was the third in a trilogy. So the artwork on this VHS is insane. It's just so far away from what Evil Dead 3 actually is. It makes it look like a serious film, which it 100% is not. Next up is the first version of the Army of Darkness that I ever purchased. There it is, Evil Dead 3 Army of Darkness, released by Anchor Bay. This is the 2-disc special edition. Open it up, there we have the theatrical version, that's disc 1, and then disc 2, the director's cut. Next on the list, this one looks like a bootleg, and it even says official bootleg edition on it, but it's not. This was officially released. The fans were begging for the director's cut to be released, and people started making their own bootleg copies and selling them illegally. So to finally stop that from happening, they sort of released this joke bootleg edition, and when you open it up, the actual DVD looks as though it was just written on in a marker, and it looks like the type of discs that you would buy yourself to burn your own DVDs. Next up we have this absolutely awesome edition. This one was only released in America. There's that title I was talking about, Bruce Campbell versus Army of Darkness. This is the Boomstick edition, 2-disc set.
This is my boomstick!
There's disc 1, the US theatrical version, and disc 2, the director's cut. Also includes this little booklet, Join the Army. It's just a little bit about the film written by Bruce Campbell himself. Next up, yes, we're still on Army of Darkness. This is the limited edition director's cut release. It's using that same over-the-top, far too dramatic artwork. Cool thing to note about this one is the gold plastic that they've used around the box, which matches the director's cut and the Army of Darkness wording, which looks amazing. And this one is actually numbered. They only released 40,000 copies of this, and this one is number 7022. This one only includes the director's cut, it doesn't include the theatrical version. Next up is the Japanese Laserdisc version of Army of Darkness. I've already talked about this one in a previous video. Really happy with the purchase, and I can't wait to get Evil Dead 2 on Laserdisc to complete the whole trilogy. The last version of Army of Darkness that I own, the Blu-ray. This is the Army of Darkness Collector's Edition Blu-ray, which was released by Scream Factory. This one is basically the definitive version of Army of Darkness. You've got everything you need in one package if you're an Army of Darkness fan. And this is really cool. They've included all the previous artworks that have been used for the Army of Darkness releases. So as you can see there, that's the director's cut, and they've used that boomstick edition art. And then you've got the international cut and the television cut on this disc, and they've used that over dramatic art. And if you actually slide that out, you have the choice of either having the new artwork that they made for this set, or you can fold it over and pop in the original poster artwork. So that's like the Army of Darkness Holy Grail Blu-ray. But that's not all. I'm now going to talk about the 2 trilogy box sets that I own of the Evil Dead Trilogy. So first up is this 4-disc collection released by Anchor Bay. It's got some really cool artwork on the front. That is actually the original artwork that the first ever VHS release of the Evil Dead used. And again, this one is a numbered limited edition run. I actually don't know how many they released of this, but this one is number 51,570. This is the last one. We have the Blu-ray trilogy box set, the Evil Dead Trilogy. This is another great set. It goes quite cheap nowadays, so if I was going to recommend that you get any of these releases, I'd just say go for this trilogy set. And then you've got all 3. Each one of them includes tons of special features and behind the scenes stuff, and they all have the audio commentary as well. It also includes both versions of the Army of Darkness, the theatrical cut and the director's cut. And there you have it. That was my Evil Dead Trilogy VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, Laserdisc collection. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully you'll look forward to joining me yet again for some more coffee and nostalgia. It's not sweet enough. Sammy.
Give me some sugar, baby.